it going, guys? Welcome back to my second podcast episode of Even Eden. Tonight's episode, I have my good buddy Dan with me. And the reason I asked Dan on this show tonight is because Dan is such a grounded, divine masculine presence in my life. And when I met Dan around this time last year, we both went through a crazy time together, and navigating some spiritual warfare and just when it came to like false prophets and people that were not embodied and just the dark side of the spiritual community. And Dan is such an incredible person and artist, and I am just so honored to have him on here tonight. And he's basically, how the last episode was just me and one of my girlfriends who saved me along the way. Dan is definitely another figure like that in my life. He is someone that his presence came into my life at such a necessary time because on this journey, it is so easy to forget that you have soul family, because it's like when you've been tricked and deceived so much on this path by people who, pretend like they're your friend and then later backstab you, or if there's people out there that are not who they say they are, you forget that you have a true soul tribe family, waiting to be magnetized into your life, and they're all around. We are just scattered throughout the globe. And so tonight's just going to be another conversation with Dan, and he is so awesome and incredible. So, Dan, introduce yourself and let him know what's up.
I'm Dan. I really appreciate you having me on. Such a special person in my life, and I think so highly of you, and I enjoy our conversations. And I'm just a mountain man, hermit guy. Um, I have a little homestead out here. An artist, musician. I'm just a normal, just a normal guy who's happens to be a mountain man hermit. Um, but yeah, me we have gone through so many similar things, and I feel like really overcome through all that, and learned so much. It's kind of like that thing of how, every challenge becomes a learning lesson, right? And makes us stronger and opens up all these things for us. And I always just felt like that we really connected on such a deep level through that. And
Absolutely. And there's a reason for that, it's because like as a divine feminine on this path, I hold the Sophia codes, and as a divine masculine on this path, you are embodying the Christos codes. And when that archetype goes through initiations, you are bound to go through some hell. And it's all for the higher purpose. You become the phoenix, and death and rebirth over and over until it is just a way of life. And another reason I invited you on the show, Dan, is because your what you do on TikTok is actually something that I think is the most beautiful thing ever. And it's you. So Dan has this community on TikTok where he goes live basically every night, and he has created such a incredible community of his like, soul family, where people can feel safe and it's just ask questions and be free to be yourself. And Dan, tell me about that. What got you into that?
well, it was a lot of the stuff that we share that we've experienced, kind of going through the gang stalking. It was kind of at a really, really low point, and I actually felt probably more alone than I've ever felt in my life. More like just disconnected and alone because I didn't know who to trust, and all this stuff. Um, so I started coming on out of fear. Actually, it was scary to be alone in this house, with like all the weird stuff that was happening. So I went in and instantly just started meeting all these people. And really, I feel like me and everybody who was in there like was kind of healing together. Was I had a lot of support from everybody, and did my best to support. And it just feels like it was one of those things that was like part of my path, and has really gotten me through from then till now, where I felt very alone. I felt very kind of scared in a way, to be honest. To really just having this deep faith now and this, and confidence in my life, and um, just a huge, huge, beautiful community of people there. It's just really was became this way of engaging with soul family from all over the world with unconditional love, basically.
Beautiful. So I remember this time last year. It was literally like exactly this time last year, when I met you, and it was because I had just got initiated into becoming a Bufo facilitator, and you were hosting the graduation ceremony. And we all went to your house in the mountains, and it was such a beautiful experience, so much fun.
Yeah, it
But
was so.
little did I realize at the time, and same with you, Dan, that we were like amongst the people that weren't who they said they were. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about the deception in the spiritual community and the dangers of that. Because I after that, when I moved back home to Hawaii after that situation that had happened, Dan and I were dealing with a couple couple people with pretty dark intentions, and I went through the darkest time in my life. I truly did. I was going to unalive myself because there was satanic rituals being done on me. There was just like absolute deception to the highest degree. And it was like the rug got ripped under like from underneath me. And Dan was the only one that was really there for me because he was the only one that knew these people the way I did. And so yeah, let's talk about how dangerous the spiritual community can be in those type of communities.
Yeah, I mean, the spiritual community, I think, is notorious for kind of hiding narcissists, and people with negative, more self-serving um, goals and motives, just massive manipulators. And there's a ton. If you look at every social media, often you'll see the people with the biggest followings who, speak with tons of conviction and, mix in a lot of true things. But then I mean, I can always see it in the eyes, honestly. I can always see it. There's something in the eyes and there's something in the tone of voice. But yeah, it's something you have to be really careful about. So a lot of times people come from a place of that they're trying to help, that they're in service, but really they're just in service to themselves, and it's almost like a lot of them want to start a cult, with themselves being revered at the center of it. So you have to be very really careful about that. I mean, first thing, just like is trusting your discernment, trusting your intuition. Um, and I think it can be hard for a lot of people to do that, to actually be able to see it. It's one of the things I think that, having gone through some of the stuff we've went through and having had to interact and be on the short end of the stick with people like this, that there's a part of us that gets very aware, and really picks up on those signs, and but ultimately what I learned through it is you can distance yourself from people like that, and I don't think there's anything that people can do to you from those perspectives, unless you give them permission, and that's why a lot of times it's part of the goal is to make you feel fearful, to make you feel insecure, these different things, because stuff like that is us giving permission. It's us making ourselves, putting ourselves in that weaker position. Um, I have a memory, and this kind of was part of what really got me through. I have a memory from before I was born. I was adopted, and I have memories of being in the womb, I think, because I was taken away from my birth mother. But I have a memory before that where I was shown this whole life. I was there with like this infinite God source creator being and it showed me my whole life and I chose it. I remember saying, yes, this is perfect. This is the perfect life. And then, bam, I was in the womb and I saw the whole thing. Like I agreed to this whole thing. And there was a definite ending date as far as this lifetime goes. And one of the things I realized is, people will try to make you fearful that they can do something to you or something like that, and nobody can do that to you. You already chose exactly what to go through. From the minute we were born till the minute we die. So really knowing that there's no fear left for me when it comes to that. It's like, well, I can trust openly. I can use my discernment. And even if I did get like hoodwinked or something by somebody, um, I chose it and guaranteed there's something there to learn from it, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I have it like so like when you speak like that, like I know that like you're speaking from like absolute embodiment and truth. But for me, like, my journey, like obviously, like now that I'm on the other side of the spiritual warfare, I remember that it's like we are witnessing the life that has already happened, right? And so it's like we are literally just the witness, and it's like everything else is extra. Like life is always working out in our favor. That's why, like, if I was gonna be able to get taken out of here, I would have been gone, like for sure. And so now it's like now that I can relax into that knowing, and remembering that everything is always working out for me. There was a hot minute there where I was getting tricked and trapped in the realm of agreements. Because what happens here is everything is happening based off of conscious or unconscious permissions. And that is like something I think the collective needs to be educated in regards to, because a lot of people don't know. Like it's basically like no one's reading the fine print of like people aren't realizing that they have, unconsciously agreed to something. That's why like when Disney or whatever, like in the news, like they give you subliminals because it's like they're showing you so you can agree to it basically, and then it's like it's what's gonna happen. But you're so right though. It's like nothing can actually harm you. And once you remember that, it's like that's what dissolves fear, and it's a true ascension path. And I think your life really speaks to that. And I think that's why you were such an anchor in my life last year when I was I was spiraling in fear. And it was like just like seeing you like so neutral. That's because that's what it's all about is neutrality. It's not one side or the other. It's just so neutral to everything. Then that's like what actually helped me a lot. And then you ended up not going to that retreat either. So there was this retreat that we were supposed to be a part of, and I got demoted. I got kicked out. But it's because these people were doing dark magic on me, and basically I was not part of the cool kids club anymore, so to speak. And then I was depressed. Like I was like, oh my God, like they're gonna be so famous and I'm gonna, you know what I mean? And it was like just like but I that was a lesson for me though, because my head was in the wrong place. I was pairing up with those people like for like I realized that it's like my intentions were I wanted to get back at all the people that hurt me and like, oh, like look at me do this and be successful in this way. And I realized that my intentions were completely, oh, like so it's like you align with people for a certain reason, right? Because it's all physics, it's all magnetic. And it's like when my intentions were less than pure, I got paired up with people with less than pure intentions. And that's
Yeah.
what happened. And so it was like that was a huge lesson for me. And then that's why moving forward, it's like it's only like, to be love all, serve all. That's it.
Yeah. It's an interesting kind of unintended thing often by people who come into your life with negative or impure intention, right? Is that they end up teaching you through their darkness, like showing you kind of where that stuff resonates in you, right? So maybe for that with you, it had to do about insecurity a little bit and wanting to feeling a need to prove to yourself to those people, to kind of get above those people. So like it shines a spotlight on these things within
Totally.
us. Even though they're trying to bring us down, it's like the experience actually just unlocks us, brings up this trauma, brings up this stuff, shows us what needs to be healed, right? So it's like I truly believe that everything is a blessing, you
Hmm.
know, and it's so hard to say that, or to feel that sometimes, for most people, when you look around, you see the world just in such chaos and so much, kind of darkness and suffering and stuff. But it does go back to that whole thing of that we chose this. Every single one of us chose the life that we live, and really, if it doesn't present as a blessing instantly, it's like just give it time. After a little time, it's like what you learn from that struggle is going to end up being such a huge blessing. I feel like that's one of the things that like gives us these quantum leaps in our awareness and our personal evolution. So
Totally. Um, yeah, I want to ask you also about Bufo. So how did you get involved? Because I have so many clients, I have so many people that are interested in Bufo and how it came into my conscious awareness. And again, before I get into that, I want to ask you about that because that's something that we definitely connected on.
yeah, well, I have always been drawn to psychedelics in general, right?
Yeah, me
Um,
too.
because there's such beauty in it, and there's such like expansion in it, right? It is really is one of those things uh, that shows you that there's more going on here and more going on in here, like that it's vaster and interconnected and all this stuff. Um, so I also really loved NMDMT and always consider that like such a powerful teacher for me. So last year I had a soul family gathering, which is the people from the TikTok live will come out to my place. And our one friend ended up being one of those people last minute was like, yeah, I want to come out and we'll do ceremony. And so first day, instantly she's like, let's do ceremony. I'm like, all right, let's do ceremony. And it was kind of it was intense at first. It brought up all the fears, all the things that I had kind of been overcoming and overcome. I felt like it kind of brought a lot of that stuff back up, and it was like a mirror. But then it was, that's the amazing thing about Bufo is sometimes it does go that, but it's like that. Still, it's like another one of those things where it's like that spotlight, shining light on darkness or on things that are trapped in us. And then all of a sudden, this God source creator, infinite love energy comes in and like just wraps itself around you and just eases it all and opens it all up, right? And I remember when that happened, I started laughing. I started laughing like I was a kid, like like a kid where you can't stop laughing. Where it's like you can barely breathe because you can't stop laughing and you're crying. All those tears are falling down your eyes, and it was just the most like freeing, beautiful connection with myself, with everything, and this like expansion, opening of my inner child, and um, instantly it was like so much shifted inside of me, and I knew right then, like literally within an hour after that, I was like, I'm ready to be trained, to be a Bufo facilitator.
It definitely calls to you because the same thing happened to me. I immediately got out of the first time I did it was in October of last year, and I got out of the session and I was like, "Well, I have to serve this now." It's like the medicine told me I had to.
Yeah,
It
it like
calls to you
obviously
because it's
part of your
it's
life,
so
right?
it's so
Part of
important. Um, Amazing. Yeah, Bufo is like it truly is the God molecule. It's like if you remember who you are. It's like because this is what happened to me is like I had been through so much on my spiritual journey that like I had already been through things, transcending like outside the realm of time, like going through different realms that people wouldn't even believe exist here. And really understanding like the work of Carl Jung, like how the subconscious is controlling your reality. Like I was there. I have gone through so many initiations that it was like, I was like, what is next? And then Bufo kind of presented itself to me. Um, and and that medicine, it basically just confirmed everything I already knew to be true of like who we are as the creator and, one with the creator. And it's just a remembrance to the highest capacity of like, oh yeah, like that's what we're doing here, And it's like,
Yeah.
and it dissolves the fear and anxiety, and it truly, because it's actually known to lead those to their life purpose, and it's like known to cure like anxiety, or people have quit alcohol or drugs or whatever it is, using this medicine, because that's what it is. It is medicine, because I've been sober for 4.5 years, and it was very controversial for me to take a psychedelic and get trained to be a facilitator in this psychedelic.
Yeah.
However, it was like it's like so far beyond that for me, like because I couldn't support this medicine as a form of healing more. It truly is a life-changing experience.
Yeah, agreed so much. And the initiation, there is something powerful about the initiation. It was like, so we did that, and then instantly it was like the next 10 days, it was like full immersion. You
You have to sit with the medicine for 10 days, dude. It's like you got to strap in. Because
Yeah,
the
a lot of
medicine
things
itself is
come up, right?
pretty intense.
A lot of things do come up. A lot of things come up that show you some of like uh that help you to transform some things inside you and to heal some things. And that just kind of reaffirm like that infinite connectedness that we that all is everything is one kind of idea, right?
Totally.
That is so true. But the biggest thing for me that I learned through it, um and it's part of why I'm happy all the time,
You
like, and
are.
even if
You are. You have so much inner peace,
I'm
dude.
at
It radiates.
yeah,
It
it's
does. It's
well,
beautiful. That's a big reason I asked you on the show, because it's like you truly embody like that inner Christ light. You really do.
I appreciate that. So do you. I see that in you.
Oh, I love you.
um that's I think that's because people often say like self-love, love yourself, right? um and I think that the biggest thing is that is self-acceptance is what holds us back, because there's always that inner critic and that judge, that's judging us for past mistakes, that's judging us for little intricacies of ourselves, or like silly little things usually even. Um and that was the biggest thing, because really, it is this connection with God, source, creator. And the biggest message I kept getting over and over was, I accept you, like the God, source, creator, like, is like, I accept you. You're perfect. You're beautiful. Like this is overpowering unconditional love, you know? And really from that place, I think once you really can embody that self acceptance, which is so tied in with unconditional love, I think it's a lot easier to look at others, to see others, and to accept them for exactly who they are, like perfectly imperfect, parts of the infinite, right?
Hmm.
And really, even with that, it's like just accepting reality as it is. It's like, I don't even feel like I need to, part of me wants to, yeah, I want to heal, I want to help the world, I want to do all this stuff. But part of me is like, like, I'm not even worried about it. I accept it as it is. I know that this whole thing is evolving and growing, and just like we are, it's like almost like that as above, so below kind of thing. Um, this whole thing, this whole God source creator, the infinite everything, is like infinite consciousness evolution and
Hmm.
expansion, right? And I trust that it's, I do things that can help, and we all do things that are part of it. But we don't. I don't really feel like I have to try anymore. I was like, I don't feel like I need to be a teacher. I don't feel like I need to be any of these things. I just feel like I just need to be myself and just love and accept how it is. And that
Right.
was a big thing for me a little bit.
Yeah,
Shit.
well, so that's like another like big reason like I really admire and like look up to you because I think for me especially like on this path like I said like how I got caught up with the wrong intentions is I have felt this pressure to succeed, this pressure to fulfill my divine destiny, this pressure because it's like for all the spiritual warfare that I was going through, I'm like, Jesus Christ, like I'm probably a big deal or something. And turns out like I am, but it's okay. But it's also it's like my ego is the one that wants all that. When you were like you were just so in your lane and just so like at absolute acceptance with yourself, that was such a mirror moment for me because I was realizing I was like because my inner critic was loud. I was like, you're being so lazy. Like, you need to like get your shit together. Like, you're not like, you were supposed to be done writing your book 2 years ago. And it's like, why haven't you wrote it? And it's like, I was under so much trauma and stress that it was like, I was, doing this like self-fulfilling prophecy of beating myself up. And
Yeah.
and I was the one that was punishing myself. It was like that inner punishment within myself created like such a dystopian reality for me because it was like I saw the world in such a dark light because of all the warfare and then not only that but like the way that I was treating myself. And then once I had like a full-blown rebirth moment probably around April of last year of this past year, 2025. April is kind of a month for my rebirth. I've noticed that. But I had a rebirth moment where I just said, fuck it. I was like, dude, whatever. I'm not gonna write anything. I'm going to like just allow. I'm going to accept it and allow. And then that's when things started working out. That's
Yeah.
literally because it's like I was holding on, I was grasping and gripping, and it was like the second that I was just like, nah, dude, I can't handle this pressure anymore. The universe was like, finally, like let me work for you. And that's when things started going like, better than I could have ever expected because I was finally done controlling it.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, surrender, right?
Yeah.
Like, even surrender can even just be just being yourself, like not worrying about, for me, a lot of surrender is just, for personally is being myself and, kind of letting go, just letting go. And, it's kind of like that thing, like follow your joy, follow your passion, follow your inspiration. It's like I think we're always doing it, right? We're always on the right path. We went through some rough times where we maybe didn't feel that way or didn't see that, but even that was like exactly the right place on our path, you know. So when I was much younger, I had I ended up dropping out of high school and whatever, it was on the streets, and I had like a addiction to meth, right? And it was the most one of the most intense and challenging, painful times of my life. I went full, like I OD'd a few times and stuff like that. And um, so eventually I got clean and stuff. But we don't realize, how much we are affecting those around us. And there are so many people who told me later that were starting to do it at that time, but then they saw what happened to me, and that through seeing my struggle, my painful struggle, they didn't need to, like it scared them away from it. So it's like we're always having this effect on the world. And it's weird. It's like duality, non-duality. Where it's like it very much often feels like this duality of like there's the light and the dark, And sometimes in our lives, we are experiencing times of our life that more harmonize with the light or the dark. Yet through that, it's like we're still affecting everything in the exact way it needs to be affected. It's like this whole thing is we're learning from through this, and everything and everyone around us is learning through it, right? So yeah, we're always on the right path, and I'm kind of losing my train of thought a
No, no,
little
no.
bit.
Well, I mean, I wanted to tie that back into, the gang stalking thing because I know a lot of the collective, the people that, resonate with my content, a lot of my clients, in fact, are still being gang stalked. They are still caught in the realm of distortion. And that's actually like one of my specialties that I do, in my client sessions is I help them ascend out of that vibration because that's what it is. It is a vibration. It
Yeah,
is a looping mentality. And so it's like, because a lot of the times when you're in that realm, it doesn't feel like it's gonna end. It's like it truly feels like, because for me, like I literally like I was very, very close to like unaliving myself. Like it was that bad. And so I think that's such a beautiful perspective to shed light on that because it's like even like once you're out of it, because now that I'm out of it, like I absolutely resonate with, ah, I understand now because it's like, but what the collective needs to know is like you like gain all of the wisdom that you can while you're in it, because that's what this is. It's like you're collecting data. You are the eyes of source, right? So you are collecting data, but it's also for your embodiment. It's for your gnosis. It's like because this is a remembrance. You are remembering how this realm works. What's really going on here? Who are the shadow players? Who like, who are you on a soul level? And it's like this, and that's what it's for. It's like it's for full-blown integration of your wholeness. And
yeah.
and
Look,
that's
look at
what
you
it
now,
is.
right? You went through all that, and now because of the knowledge you've gained, because of the strength you gained through that, you're now able to help others who are going through the same thing,
Totally.
right?
Yeah. I mean, some of my clients, like, oh man, I'm like, my heart breaks for them because I'm like, I tell them, I'm like, I promise you, that was me 6 months ago. And they're like, 6 months ago? No. And I'm like, yeah, yeah, big time. And it's because it's like, it's like a light switch. One day it will just hit you and you're like, I need to reclaim my voice because that is the first step. That is the first step that I had to do because it was like, I felt so disempowered. That's what it was. It was like that spiritual attack. It was like a slingshot, right? So it's like it pulled you down to disempowerment so you can skyrocket up into embodiment. And so
Exactly.
that's actually like what you said earlier. That's what we chose. We chose a path that was going to, because this is for advanced old souls. Like most souls don't choose this. By the way, this is for like people that are on that path. It's ancient, it's ancient souls. That's why my business is called Ancient Souls Collective. This is the people I resonate with. Is my soul family. We're the psychos that we're down to get our shit rocked, and just so we can remember in every way multidimensionally of like who we are and how powerful we are because it's like this is not our final form. There's so much more. And it's like
Yeah.
in 6 months, it's like I've become unrecognizable to someone, contemplating on taking their own life, you know?
Uh,
So
yeah.
it's a wild
It's,
ride.
you're amazing. You're like such a bright light and
Well,
such a
ditto.
beacon of, man, such a beacon of just like strength. I see it so strongly in you, and honestly, that's part of the thing, right? Where it's like these things that we went through. It's like I wouldn't wish that on anybody. I wouldn't
Totally.
wish that on anybody
Right.
ever.
So
And yet,
demonic.
I'm so grateful though that I went through these things.
Hmm.
You know, like I learned so much. I feel like I'm able to to help people, to be there for people, to love people.
Yeah.
So much deeper, and I see that so strongly in you. It's like if I could, have you not go through that, it's like part of me would really want to, but then part of me like sees you, and I'm like this is why we agree. This is why we come into these initial agreements, when we choose this life, because it's important. It's like somebody has to do it. Each one of us, somebody has to do exactly what we do. It's
Right. There's
part
all
of that.
special assignment.
Yeah,
But
and
yeah,
it's
I
really
mean, I was definitely on a part like, there was some parts of my path where I was like, okay, it didn't have to be that fucking bad. You know what I mean? So those are the parts where I think it was like that was not free will on my part. Like that was not chosen by me because that was, at the expense of, others' free will. However, because of my gnosis of I'm the witness to this life, it has already happened, right? It's like because it's like that's how it's going on. We're literally witnessing it because it's already done in the quantum. It's creation is finished, right?
yeah, yeah. I mean, I always think like like I think everything is always happening, you
hmm
know. So it's almost like if you compare it to our brains where we have these memories, and like that part of us is always it's always part of us, right? Um, I really think that like this is always happening,
Right.
and we're just like we're doing it. We are like the neural pathway or something that's experiencing it. I often like think of this infinite God source creator thing like a brain, and we are just one of those neural pathways. We're part of like all the expressions of, let's say, unconditional love. That's a good one. um it's this infinite thing, like understanding everything, right? Coming to being in awareness of everything, and we're just a part of that. I'm not saying this quite exactly the right way, I don't think, but
No, it totally resonates. I mean, that's like it's like what movie was Almost Famous, Penny Lane, when she's like, it's all happening. And it's like,
yeah,
that's like always been one of my favorite lines from that movie. And I think that's because of like, my like there's the little breadcrumbs in my life, right? It's like certain things. It's like lines from your favorite movie. It's like, oh yeah, that's the truth. Because that's what it is. It's like we've left ourselves the energetic breadcrumb to remember. The signs are everywhere. And it's so in your face that it's like obscene once you wake up and you're like, oh my God, how did I not see it before? Because it's like it's right in
yeah.
front of your nose, literally.
It's interesting. One of the things that that I kind of find myself saying a lot, um, because I believe it, I feel it so deeply, is that it's all part of it, you know, and you know, pretty much that's our whole lives, like everything that we experience, everything that's happening, every aspect of us, like it's all part of it. It's all part of this infinite thing, you know, and I don't know. I always think it's really cool though, because people think often like that their life has no purpose, no meaning, but it's like, no, you're the person who's doing that. It's like it's like it has to be like you're the only person who can experience these things from your perspective. Like you are like it's like you take that thread out of the tapestry and the whole thing unravels. You know what I mean? It's like, and in a way it's there's the non-duality of it where it's like it's all whatever, and it's like the paradox of infinite meaning, and it means nothing, but there is that truth, that aspect of it that is so true, that it's the highest meaning. It's like the highest meaning. It's like we are God source creator doing this. This is one puzzle piece in this infinite thing, and it all matters. It's all beautiful. Like it all has so much purpose, I feel.
For sure. I mean, so I remember when I got sober, because I got sober on April 3rd of 2021. So 4321 is my sobriety date. And
Another
yeah, another April. No, that's what I'm saying. Like my rebirths, like it happened on Easter weekend. That it was Easter weekend that weekend that I was in detox. And it was like it's a wild story. I'm saving it for my book. But it's I remember just like being like, I don't have a purpose. Why would I get sober? Because like I truly at that point in my life, like I felt like bottom of the barrel. Like I was like, I don't have a purpose. Like, what's the point of living? Like, and it's like then I had a super, super very similar experience where remember your blueprint, but it was the same thing. It was like my perception of, God at the time. It was like I felt like it was like final judgment on my life, but it was like I was shown the vision of my life if I were to get sober. And it was like the exact path of like, it was just so epic, right? And I was like, how the fuck is that gonna happen from this? Because I was like, dude, I was in rough shape. I was literally like 27 years old on my deathbed. It was horrible. And I uh I was like, okay, so I do have a purpose. And then on the spiritual journey that I've gone on, I've dealt with these other shadow energies of these, false feminine figures trying to rob me of my life purpose after I just discovered that I had one. And so that's where I was like, hey, I just found my purpose. You have your own. Like, you know what I mean? Again, so it was like, yeah, like I think the search for purpose is directly correlated to a lack of identity. When you don't remember who you are, when you don't know who you are, it's like you either don't think you have a purpose or like you are just that's what's creating, such inauthentic people in the society is it's just a lack of remembrance. It's a lack of gnosis of who they actually are.
Yeah, but it still goes back, I think, to that whole thing of that it's all part of it, right? Because like, um, it's like sometimes you have to be in a place like that, like you have to be in a place where you were then to be in a place where you are now. Sometimes, right? Because there's certain things you can only learn from the bottom of the pit or the top of the tower or just in that darkness, right? There's certain things we can only learn from that place. So it's like, and that's part of that whole thing of the contract of uh agreeing to go through it, right? To go through the ups and the downs, because really it's so much, it's always like it's so much of life is like this, but really I think it's like this more, so it's like we go down and then we spring back up, we kind of get more embodied as self, more connected with the all, right?
Hmm.
um it's like that's kind of what I see when I look around the world. It's like there's so much chaos in the world too, there's like, oh, there's this happening over here and this happening over there, and I feel like there's part of life is sacrifice, and I believe that as we come uh into this life, we've agreed to sacrifice, to go through things that are challenging. And it's hard to say that. Sometimes people think I'm really cruel to say that, of like, well, yeah, there's, people dying over here in this part of the world. And of course, yeah, let's change that, right? But it's like, it's the wake up call sometimes, right? It's sometimes people will sacrifice in ways like this so that others, even maybe they don't even really experience that in this life, the flip of it, right? But so that others can see, so that others have that example, just like we have good examples in our life, people that help us to see the beautiful things and that open us up in various ways. um in kind of like myself when I was a teenage drug addict, I was, for people, that negative example, right? Where people could learn from the darkness that I was experiencing. So that's what I see the world so much. It's like of course, I don't condone these things, but I know that I truly believe that nothing happens that isn't a part of this. So if there's darkness, that's our darkness, our collective darkness that's coming out. And just like in our own lives, like these, let's say insecurity, the insecurity has to come out to be able to be seen before we can overcome that insecurity. It's like collectively, this darkness comes out, I feel, so that we can see that. So I don't know. I trust and I have faith in it, but I do wish for peace and all the best for
Well,
everybody.
that's so thank you for bringing that up because that's actually something I really like would love to talk about too because a lot of people don't understand the like what's actually going on here. And so my like one of the main things that I remembered and like on my journey of self-discovery is that you are the universe. You know, I am me as you are he as you are we and we are all together, right? Like I am the walrus.
Sure.
That song has always been one of my favorites for a reason too.
Likewise.
And so in The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle, there is a part in the book where he talks about the collective shadow. And in that in that part of the book, he is basically saying the state of the world is due to the collective that part of the collective that has not done their inner work that is literally keeping their literal demons like festering and not, because like Carl Jung says, it's like to dissolve it, you have to make it conscious. To dissolve the darkness, you have to make it conscious. And so these are people that are hiding that shadow, denying their shadow. And therefore, that is what is manifesting on the outside. Because it's like if you have not made it conscious, it is therefore unconscious, living in your subconscious, projected outward. And so that's what we're doing here as on the mission of as light workers. We are showing the world what it's really like to, own your wholeness, to basically do the shadow work, to remember the truth of who you are, to love yourself and, in all parts of you, including your shadow. That's why a lot of the collective are twin flames. That's why it's like you have to go on that journey to remember like what's actually happening here. And so once the rest of the world kind of sees the light that we are choosing to embody, it's going to collectively raise the vibration of the earth, and therefore diminishing, and that it's a whole rabbit hole, by the way, but diminishing like the that darkness, but it's like there's also, the archons and the rulers of this realm that want to keep the collective plugged into manifesting that reality because the archons and these evil beings with this agenda, they can't create. So they are like counting on the collective to keep recreating a timeline that has already expired. It is already dead. That timeline doesn't exist unless the collective keeps choosing to engage with it, which they are, because they're all brainwashed. And it's not anybody's fault. It's just it is. And
Yeah,
so, but whew, that was a rant. I'm sorry.
I still do think that it's kind of like a hundred monkey thing um, where there is a lot of this stuff that is, I think maybe still in process. I kind of think that if it's happening, that it's still in process, So if we do find this darkness in the world, or stagnancy, complacency, whatever, different types of things, I think it is still kind of a part of it, and I think of let's say people and structures that are like that, these manipulative, controlling uh, things, right? I kind of bring that back to what we were talking about earlier, to where it's like they know not what they do, right? Where it's like they don't know ultimately that, like, through doing this, it's like they're shining, through this darkness. It's like they're actually shining a light on that darkness for us to see. It's like they're highlighting that. So through us, like, actually seeing that, it's having the opposite effect. And I think it's slow, but I think it's like what's that saying? It's kind of ties in with what we were talking about, that the to heal, to fix a problem, you have to first realize that there's a problem or something.
Hmm.
So it's like it's shining a light on that, and it's showing us like these things. So I mean, ultimately, it's like it's very true. Very much manipulation, very much trying to keep people stuck in these negative dynamic loops, right?
Totally.
But it it's it's backfiring. It's already backfiring on him, and it's gonna continue to backfire on him, you know. And I think that's like the ultimate end of, or the ultimate end of all these, you know, these things that come out of real darkness. You know, it's like darkness just ends up destroying itself, I think, you know.
No,
And
absolutely, 100% of the time.
so, you know, we just like really, it's like all we can do is what we can do, really. So it's like, you know, we can do our best, and I think that like that's part of it, right? So it's like it's kind of like that wave, the 100 monkey effect wave of like the more people that like awaken to their true connection, to their true power, to their true self. um you know, it's like that that idea of when you know, like when you light another candle, you put two candles together, the light gets brighter, right? And we get enough candles together, then it's like all that, you know, all that darkness is dispelled, right?
Absolutely.
And I think it's a matter of time. And really, like we said earlier, it's already happened. You know what I mean? But we're just going through the motions still, in a way. You know, I think keeping
Yeah,
it.
it's like, as the author of my own life story, this is something like I actually teach to my clients a lot is I'm like, okay, you obviously don't know who you are yet because if you're the author to your own life story, do you really think that you're gonna do you like that and you're gonna give yourself a fucked up ending? You're gonna just allow like, your life to go to shit? Is this you think this is it? Damn. Like that's hardcore. Because it's like for me, like that's what kept me going is remembering that I was the author. And I was like, no, hell no. Like I would never do me like this, you know? So it's like, because I was like, I know, so because it's like, I know the ending. I do know the ending. I know, and I remember it. I've seen it. It's like the visions. And so it's like, because it's like, I had to hold on to that when I was going through hell with no map. It's like when I felt so like void of like in the void, like separate from God, I was like, I needed those visions to help me remember the truth of like, yeah, it's like it's all gonna be
Yeah,
all
you're a
right.
badass sovereign being.
Yeah, it's dude, it's like we're fighting for our freedom, but at the same time, we're already free. We're just witnessing ourselves get to that point.
Yeah, yeah, very much, very
Mhm.
much. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, I want to ask you because it's like another big reason I had you come on the show is, look at me come on the show, is because like as a divine feminine and I'm speaking for my fellow queens that are truly on the embodiment journey of embodying our divine feminine and basically we're worried about the masculine collective at this moment in the game. We have all been, I'm not speaking on behalf of all, but I'm pretty sure it's all. We have all been traumatized and but beyond belief by the men who say like are supposedly supposed to be divine masculine. And I know
Yeah.
that you are genuinely someone that embodies a divine masculine embodiment. And I wanted to ask you how like how did you become like so nurturing? Like did you do a lot of shadow work? Like what is your thoughts on the masculine community and are you concerned about the other men?
Um, yeah, I'm concerned. I mean, I don't like,
I
you
don't, yeah,
know,
concern's a bad word.
what's that?
I was a concern's a bad word. Maybe not concerned, but
Yeah, well, you know, I definitely see it though. I mean, I definitely see it. I mean, there's men perpetrate all kinds of horrible things, right? Um, for me, to be honest, I had to go through a lot of that, you know? Like I've thankfully there's a lot of things that I never did, but I mean, I betrayed people. You know, I've stolen, you know, um, I've hurt people in my life. But I don't know. It's weird. It's a weird thing to say, but like the thing that taught me more than anything was suffering,
Hmm.
you know,
Yeah.
was like going back to that whole time of, me being a homeless drug addict kid, I learned so much about compassion and humility through that, and that's why these things I think are so important. So generally, through our own, you could say, ignorance and our own shortcomings and, chaos, we create situations, right, that lead us into suffering. Um, and, I know Buddhism's like, end all suffering, and of course, that's great. But I got to say, I'm very grateful for the suffering that I went through. I'm very grateful for the alienation, for the fear for these things, because I feel like it really helped me so much to be able to see people, and it's almost like that idea of walking in another person's shoes, like or like you don't know what somebody else is going through, you know. And I feel like I've went through such horrendously painful things that I can't help but allow space for people, and have compassion. Um, I used to get road raged. I used to get very road ragey when I was a kid, when I was much younger. If somebody would be going slow in front of me, or would cut me off, or would, some like the road rage things that happen on the road, I didn't get like crazy road ragey, but I might cuss at the car in front of me or something. And
I know a lot of guys that have bad road rage.
yeah,
That's like a thing.
yeah, but it's a reflection, right? It's a reflection of something that's going on inside of us, Um, but I don't feel that anymore. It's like I have a hard time. I can't help uh, but be like, I don't know what that person's going through. Hey, they cut me off. It's like maybe they're in a rush. There's a family member who's in the hospital, and they're, maybe it's even something smaller. Maybe they're going through some inner turmoil. Um, so really, a lot of it has just been like life. I made an intention when I was pretty young. I said, I want to learn, I want to learn, I want to grow, I want to become my best self, universe, God. And um, I'm down for whatever. Like, give me the experiences, like walk through the fire, like whatever it takes. And I feel like it heard me and it listened, and it kind of gave me those things. So really, I'm not really sure completely. I think it's one of those things that maybe just has to happen organically, as far as within each one of us. Our outer life is a reflection of our inner life. So when our inner life is has all these uh, I can't think of the right word, but all these things, inconsistency, things that don't measure up, things that don't, uh, cognitive dissonant kind of things, right, and whatnot. It's like that's going to be reflected to us in our life. So I think often it's like, let's say the men, and I'm not saying this as an excuse or anything, um, but the men who are most in those places of the chaotic or destructive masculine, um, it's a reflection of what's going on inside of them, right? And I think that it's unfortunate that people have to suffer through that on the outside, even though it's all we've all agreed, right? Maybe it's like that this whole opening these things up is part of the purpose we're here, and we're doing it from many different levels. But I think it's inevitable. I think it's just you know if things are brought to the light, brought to awareness, they cannot help but to evolve and to shift. So I have faith, and I think we're going to have some like maybe quantum leaps in that soon. And I
Yeah.
think we have in some ways, but I think we are going to have some quantum leaps in that soon. And it's more just like that. It's actually it's at the surface very strongly, right?
Absolutely. And I think, like what while you were speaking, I was just reminded of like my own evolution in self is like the more that I've healed, the less that I have attracted the like chaotic experiences like that. And so it's like it's not just men, it's the women too, of it is just a mass like the teachings of Christ for me, it's not necessarily forgiveness because forgiveness is essentially just letting go. And so that's basically what it is. It's like you have to let go of the past, address like your darkness, but it's like once you release and accept and allow, that's when you make space for truly like beautiful experiences to match you at your vibration.
Yeah, it's like it's embodiment, right?
Hmm.
It's like stepping into embodiment.
For sure. Um,
So, I do see this happening. I feel like I see it happening more and more, with men and with women, of people kind of stepping more into that embodiment you know, of who they really are, which, like getting past that cognitive dissonance, like allowing that, exploring those ideas, right? The conflicting ideas that create the chaos, exploring them and uh, coming to the truth of them, right? Um, so I think it's a really good sign, that so many people, literally, that so many people are awakening into embodiment and into their more true self, while at the same time there's so much chaos. It's like I feel like literally we're learning from both, like this whole spectrum right now in such a powerful way. And that's part of why I really believe that we are going to see some quantum shifts, some
oh
big
yeah.
quantum shifts. I feel like they're already here, in a lot of ways, but we're like on the doorstep, kind of a
No,
lot of it.
totally. I can feel it in the energy too. And someone told me today, like I just told them about like my plans and what I've been doing for the past few months. And they're like, damn, you have a good life. And I was like, yeah, I do, man. And it was like literally like it was like such a beautiful self-realization because it was like, wow, like there's so much beauty in my life but I also said back to this person, I was like, it's not without its darkness though, because I'm like the level of darkness that I've had to go through and experience and transmute on like a collective level, literally. I'm like, I wouldn't wish it on anybody. But I'm like, but that's also part of the blueprint, right? Is the amount of darkness that you've had to go as above, so below, right? It's the amount of darkness you've had to experience. It will equate to the level of beauty that you're going to experience. And that's why I think my life, at this moment in time, and not just this moment in time, in all moments, right, is so divine. And it's just, uh, I was like crying tears of gratitude, like, and I'm just truly, I feel like I've relaxed into my Dan era of like I'm at peace, because it's like I'm just in like total self-acceptance and it's like just at peace, man. And like I feel like that's like the embodiment that I was waiting for was like, no, no, fuck no, like everything's all good, and because it is.
Dude, you're such like a beautiful like example and like light, like shining light of that. And yeah, I mean, look at your life. You're in Bali. You're
Yeah.
like, you're like what you woke up, did yoga today, like
Yeah.
good juice bar or something, right? Living this beautiful, simple and yet very rich,
Oh, it's so rich. It's
you
literally the
know?
best, the best choice I ever made was coming out here for sure. But what is one thing that you want the collective to know about life?
Um, you know, I have this thing, and I don't know. I feel like it's a book in the making a little bit, and I feel like it's kind of why I feel so at peace, you know. And there's like these different aspects of it. Although I was thinking about it earlier and I couldn't remember. Maybe it'll come to me. But it's you know, like self-acceptance, like I said, has been like one of the biggest things. You know, it's like it always starts right here, right? So it's like accepting ourselves, not, you know, like not judging ourselves harshly. Um, and you know, one of the other things is that this whole this whole reality, it's like having faith, knowing that it's really all for the highest good. It's really all working through us for the highest good. I guess what it really boils down to is faith, you know, so much. Um, it's like it's why I've stepped back, you know, instead of like making as many spiritual posts and stuff, or you know, posts about, you know, all these ideas and these things and stuff. And I started just sharing the simple joy and beauty of my life in my posts mostly. You know, I'm like, yeah, look, these are my dogs, and this is like the beauty. This is the sky today, and look at this frog. You know, um,
I love that content shift, by the way. I thought that that was like such a like embodied cool move because I feel like even for myself, like I'm like, dang, like I feel like everyone's out here being a spiritual teacher now. I'm like, what the hell? So you know what I mean? So it's like it's a little pivot, but it's still so undeniably you.
yeah. But the biggest thing that I would really like to somehow impart to people, um, or help people to, I guess, embody in themselves is that idea of self-acceptance. You know, it's like we're the ones that are holding ourselves back, you know. We're the ones who we are, you know, the biggest critic or our biggest judge. We hold ourselves back more than anyone. We victimize ourselves more than anyone. We, you know, and so much of that is it's because we don't accept ourselves. We don't see how, you know, we don't see just how beautiful and amazing we are and how perfect we are. And even in our, you know, even in our flaws. And but I feel like if we could all embody this self-acceptance, really just feel that, feel, know self-acceptance, feel and know self-acceptance, that there wouldn't be any need for war or for classes of people, you know, like rich versus poor, uh, not liking people because of their skin color or their sexual orientations or genders or whatever, or even beliefs, you know, even like their, you know, it's like, dang, the left and the right these days, right? It's like the divisive battle, right?
Two sides of the same coin.
Yeah, really. Um, so I think that like it's all, it comes back to that whole thing of, you know, the outer is a reflection of the inner. And I think that self acceptance is one of the big keys. And I'm not even sure how to like really, you know, help somebody find self acceptance, you know. So I guess I try to just do my best. I think that we can do the most, create the most change here and in all things within ourselves, you know. It's like it all starts right here, and it's like it's almost like we've taken this like sack of crap, you know, and you know, we've been carrying it around, you know, and we have to go through and we have to heal this stuff. We have to you know, work that shit into the soil and grow flowers out of it or whatever, right?
Right.
It's like this is, I think, how we change, how we shift this, you know, because we are, as much as we are individual in a way, we are collective, you know. So it's like, just like inside of ourselves, if we, when we, let's say, overcome or transform, let's say, one little aspect of something, we come to a realization that shifts something within us, you know, us doing that, us sh- healing and shifting these things, um, create is like that for the collective. It's just one aspect, you know. and that it builds and it builds, and it's part of that eventual healing, right? The individual healing. It's as above, so below, so much, right? It's so really focus on this, right? Like let people be who they are, don't go down to dark levels to fight darkness, you know, just confront these things within yourself and shine light on that darkness. Bring those things up to a level of our awareness and our understanding, right? And I don't know, self acceptance is part of it, faith is part of it, surrender is part of it, lots of things. But, I really, and this is part of those four things that I was saying, like these things I want to base a book around. Part of it is just do your best, and that's enough, just do your best. And I believe that no matter what, every single person is doing their best at all times.
Hmm.
Even when we're in some chaotic, whatever projection kind of place, it's like, dude, that's just the best you could do at that point, man. Shit gets hard sometimes. Things are confusing.
That's a good perspective to have, man. Because I know for me, like I am my own worst enemy when it comes to beating myself up over stuff. And I know like because as a recovering alcoholic, I was in the program of AA for a while. Oops, I broke that anonymity. But in the big book, it literally one of the chapters is acceptance is the answer. And it's all about self-acceptance because it's like
Oh,
it truly like it's like there's so much wisdom in that book even though it's like that's not necessarily something that like completely resonates on my journey at this time. I'm still sober and still like I've recovered. I don't even like to say that that's something that is a part of my life, anymore. But yeah, acceptance is the answer, and that's how you manifest heaven on earth. Because like Neville Goddard says, there's nothing to change but self.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And it really is because it's like, that's why part of why self acceptance I feel like is so key too, because it's like, we are our worst judge. We are if we can stop judging ourselves, we can stop being afraid of ourselves. We can stop. I mean, the list of things, right? The ways that we project these things in this echo chamber inside of ourselves, right?
Hmm.
Um, then it's like really that's why mostly I think that's why we do that to other people, you know? That's why we judge others so harshly, why we, all this stuff. It's because we're doing this to ourselves. Um, and I think, if we are our worst critic and judge and, instigator of chaos, uh, if we can overcome that, you know, it's a lot. It's not even a thing to overcome doing that to each other,
Totally.
like I think there is a big thing about world peace. It's right here. You got to find that self acceptance right here. But I mean, of course, I'm sure it's just oversimplification. I mean, these are freaking infinite, like uh, paradoxical, many layered and dimensional things and stuff. But I think it's a good place to start, and it's helped me a lot, I can say for sure.
Beautiful. Well, I think that's a great place to wrap it up. Dan, I want to thank you so much for being on this. You are truly like when you came into my life last year, it was just so soul family. Like I just freaking adore you, dude. And um tell the people who are listening, that have stayed to the end, how they can find you on social media, if they can join you on your little TikTok group and or like, t talk about how they can find you, maybe like buy some of your art or, if you sell it anywhere.
For sure. I don't really try to sell it. I just love making it.
I know Dan's like one of the most incredible artists like I've ever seen. If you like see if you're watching the YouTube video, you see the art in the background, like his entire house is like filled with like just insane pieces. They're so cool.
You're so kind and on so many levels, and I appreciate you so much. Honestly, you are very much somebody that I value in my life, and I'm so grateful to 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 know you. Really, like I said, I feel really honored, and I'm really grateful that you asked me to come and be on your show because it's awesome. I love it. I can't wait to see all of it. But yeah, so I'm pretty much on I think on all of my social media, I'm Dan Lucas Art, and I think that's mostly just TikTok and Instagram, but mostly TikTok is what where I where I hang out, I guess. But it's just Dan Lucas Art, one word. Although, as you know and experience, you got to be careful because there's like at least 30 fake accounts of
Yeah.
people trying to scam people that use my face and
This is
my.
how, this is how you know Dan's a real one, is he has a ton of mimics and doppelgangers trying to scam people for money using his profile pictures.
Well, likewise, I've gotten 5 different ones over the last 2 or 3
Yeah,
weeks
I
of
know.
you.
I have so many DMs of people being like, "Did you just try to solicit a reading to me?" I'm like, "No, I would never do that."
Heartbreaking too, when people are like, "I gave that person $300," and it's like, "Oh
I know.
my gosh, I'm so sorry."
But it's like, come on, man. Do you really think like I would do something like that? So it's like they got to be a little smarter than that. I don't know.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Well, it's it's all part of our path. It's all part of our journey. It's all a lesson or a blessing or both. That's what my friend Ainsley says. She calls it a blessing,
A
right?
lesson.
It's
I love
all a
that.
blessing.
That's dope, dude. Okay, well, thank you, Dan. I love you so much.
Okay, love you.